That bikini is inappropriate for a pregnant woman. This is a family pool. That's what she said loud enough for half the neighborhood to turn their heads. My wife froze mid-step, towel clutched in her hand, eyes wide with disbelief. And when that woman, Celeste Gorin, the acting president of our HOA, handed me a citation slip like she was the sheriff of suburbia, I had no idea that little piece of paper would end her career. My name's Thorne Elridge. I assess liability risk for private security firms. My job is to find the exact paragraph that bankrupts someone when they push the wrong button. I don't sue people. I don't argue online. I make consequences happen quietly. And that day, standing by the pool with my wife trembling beside me, I realized Celeste had just pushed the wrong button. Lyra. My wife was 6 months pregnant, and every swim she took mattered. After her miscarriage last year, water became her therapy, her peace. "It's where I feel weightless again," she used to whisper. So when that woman looked at her belly and called it inappropriate, something inside me snapped. Celeste didn't even glance at Lyra's face, just her stomach. Her manicure matched the HOA logo on the citation, maroon and ivory stamped with Appendix D, non-conforming attire violation. Except Appendix D hadn't been legally active since 2013. I told her that. Calmly. Her face twitched just barely, but it was enough. You know that flicker people get when they realize the person they're trying to intimidate actually knows the rules better than they do. Yeah, that one. She smiled anyway, tight and fake. "This isn't about legality, Mr. Elridge. It's about visual comfort." Visual comfort. I could have laughed if my wife hadn't been standing there shaking. I just wrapped a towel around her shoulders and walked away. No shouting, no scene. Celeste didn't deserve it. But as we left, I looked back one last time. The old weather vane above the changing room was spinning slowly, rusted and directionless, just like the people running this place. That night, Lyra barely spoke. She just sat on the couch staring at the dark window. I sat at the kitchen table, that stupid citation next to my laptop. I wasn't angry yet, just cold, methodical. Because the thing about HOA bullies is they count on you not checking. They count on silence. I opened the HOA charter and started digging. Appendix D was gone, deleted 10 years ago by majority vote. But somehow Celeste was still using it. Why, I found her name again, this time on our HOA's private Facebook group, Briar View Standard. She'd pinned a PDF titled Reaffirmed Modesty Expectations. No official letterhead, no signatures, no approval stamps, just a list of offenses like inappropriate exposure and offensive silhouettes. She'd literally made her own dress code. And Lyra's swimsuit, a medical-grade compression suit made for pregnancy, was apparently too offensive. I scrolled through the comments. People praised her. Good leadership, Celeste. About time someone said it. Only one person asked, "Is this even in the bylaws?" No response. Buried under compliments. That's when I knew this wasn't about decency. It was about control and aesthetic dictatorship, one pastel lawn and lemonade smile at a time. The next morning I started asking around neighbors at mailboxes, small talk in driveways. "You see that modesty post?" I'd ask casually. The answers came like whispers. "Yeah, my niece got warned for her tankini. My wife got a letter about her towel, said it wasn't patriotic enough." "Gorin likes her HOA pretty," one old man muttered. That's all you need to know. Patterns. Targeting. Subjective fines disguised as law. Every bully leaves fingerprints. And then came Nolan, the secretary of the HOA, quiet guy, glasses, always carrying a folder. I caught him by the mailboxes. "You voted on that citation, didn't you?" He hesitated. "No, there wasn't a vote. Celeste just filed it." He said she kept a binder locked in her office. "The Harmony Guide," he whispered. "She updates it every season. Not official, just hers." A binder. Of course she had a binder. Days passed. Then the HOA newsletter arrived, gold sticker folded neat like a gift from hell. Right there on the front page, under a photo of the pool, was a blurred image of my wife. Cropped, zoomed, her belly visible. Caption: "Let's all commit to modesty and mindfulness in shared spaces." She'd turned my wife's body into a public warning. I folded the paper slowly. The edges lined up perfectly like I was packaging a crime scene. Because I was. I started collecting everything: archived newsletters, Facebook posts, PDFs, file metadata. And the deeper I went, the uglier it got. Every file traced back to her, every violation, every word of community values. Then one morning I opened our front door and found it another citation taped dead center. Unauthorized re-entry to pool area while under review. My wife hadn't even been near the pool. She read it once, twice, then sat on the stairs like her legs had given out. "She's trying to break me," she whispered. That's when I broke instead. I sat down beside her, and for a moment I actually wondered if I was making things worse. If maybe it would have been easier to just let it go, to keep the peace, to be the quiet neighbor who doesn't cause waves. But then I looked at her hands shaking, afraid to even exist in her own neighborhood, and I knew silence was exactly what Celeste was counting on. So I got to work. I organized everything into folders: evidence, policy manipulation, fraudulent citations, emotional harm documentation. I drafted a letter titled Notice of Potential Exposure, addressed to the HOA's insurance provider. It wasn't angry, it was surgical. Dates, names, exhibits. I asked if they were aware that their client's acting president was enforcing repealed policy to shame residents. By the time I hit send, my hands were steady again. The first domino fell fast. That night, Nolan texted me. "Celeste called an emergency meeting. She looks pale." By morning, the insurance carrier froze all enforcement coverage for the HOA. No insurance meant no legal shield. The management company followed with a warning: failure to suspend non-ratified clauses may constitute breach of fiduciary duty. In plain English, keep this up and the board's getting sued. The HOA's Facebook page went dark. The bulletin board was stripped clean. And for the first time in weeks, the neighborhood pool sat empty. No kids, no fake smiles, just still water and silence. Then came Friday, the quarterly board meeting, open to residents. I showed up early, folder in hand. The room filled until people were standing shoulder to shoulder. Nolan was there, no tie eyes darting between the board members. Celeste walked in last, crisp blazer, fake calm. She called the meeting to order, talked about budget reports and pool maintenance like nothing had happened. But her voice trembled when she got to community conduct enforcement. She said all enforcement under Appendix D is paused pending review. That was my cue. I stood. "I'd like to request the floor under resident provision." She blinked, forced a smile. "You have 2 minutes." I opened my folder and laid it all out. The fake policy reinstatement, the newsletter metadata, the insurance freeze, the binder, the harmony guide. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't have to. Every page I turned was another nail in the coffin. And then from the back of the room, someone spoke up. "My daughter got fined for blue hair." Another voice. "My wife for her swimsuit." Another. "You used my son's photo in the newsletter without permission." Celeste tried to regain control, tapping her pen, saying, "The board reserves the right to interpret policy according to community standards." But Nolan stood, calm, clear. "Appendix D was repealed in 2013. You knew that, Celeste. You told us it was harmless. It's not harmless if people are afraid to walk near the pool." You could feel the air shift. The illusion cracked. The management rep leaned into her mic. "Per our operational agreement, confirmed misrepresentation may trigger suspension of board authority. An investigation begins Monday." Celeste's face went white. The next morning, the sign outside the clubhouse read, "Board quorum in progress. No public access." But the neighborhood wasn't silent anymore. People posted screenshots of citations, shared old newsletters, started a petition. Remove Celeste Goran. Restore transparency. By noon, a crowd gathered outside the clubhouse. When the doors opened, the board members came out one by one, quiet, shaken, done. Celeste stayed inside, arms crossed behind the glass. But by evening, the management office issued a statement. Effective immediately, Celeste Goran is relieved of her duties pending legal review. No cheers, no victory dance, just a long collective exhale. Days later, the official vote went through. Every household turned out. Every ballot said the same thing: remove Celeste. Unanimous. Nolan was appointed interim president. I didn't feel triumphant, just finished. That afternoon I walked with Lyra to the pool. She wore the same swimsuit, the one that started all of this. No one stared. No one whispered. On the bulletin board, a new laminated sign read, "No dress code enforcement without public approval." And underneath it, handwritten in black marker, "Everyone belongs here." Lyra smiled just barely. The weather vane above the clubhouse turned once, then stopped pointing true north for the first time in months. I stood there breathing in the quiet, realizing this wasn't about pool rules or HOA bylaws. It was about dignity, about what it costs to be left in peace and what it takes to earn that peace back. Because if someone ever tells you your existence makes them uncomfortable, remember, comfort isn't a right, but respect is.